In the last few days, Google released Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is ranking at the top of the AI hype train. So I decided to take it for a spin against Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which so far remains the best coding model. But wait, should we just go for the benchmarks or straight to coding? For the actual results, one of them built this sleek Windows desktop app, while the other built the same app, but you can spot the obvious difference. But why did I test this way? I was tired of the same old benchmarks and repeating everything that is said all over, so I decided to take a different approach and test them in a coding comparison. The last time I did such a test was Casa versus Tre AI. The results were evident and there was a clear winner. I decided to not trust the benchmark and go straight to a coding comparison. That's when I discovered there is a huge difference between Gemini 2.5 Pro and Claude 3.7 Sonnet. I'm not talking about speed, I'm talking about quality. Don't get me wrong, they are both good AI models for coding, but as you'll soon see, one is better at producing quality code. Don't trust the hype. First, let's start with the basic. Just in case you've not heard about Gemini, it's a series of Google AI models designed for various tasks. It started with Gemini 1.0, which introduced Ultra, Pro, and Nano, each optimized for different levels of performance. Then came Gemini 1.5 featuring Pro for advanced reasoning and Flash for faster processing. Now we have the latest Gemini 2.0 and 2.5 series that are pushing boundaries with improved accuracy, reasoning, and efficiency across models like Pro, Flash, and Flashlight. At this rate, we might just get Gemini 3.0 before finishing this review. But I do this all day, breaking down the latest AI tools and models to keep you ahead of the curve. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and you don't have to worry about losing the track of this AI sprint. What makes Gemini 2.5 Pro so special compared to its predecessors? Gemini 2.5 Pro is Google's latest flagship model released on March 2025. Google calls it the thinking model, designed specifically to tackle complex problems through enhanced reasoning capabilities. What makes it stand out is its massive 1 million token context window, with Google promising 2 million tokens coming soon. That's a huge amount of context for processing entire code bases and complex projects. Google has made big claims about its benchmark performance, particularly ranking on number 1 on LM Arena by significant margin. But what really caught my attention for a coding test is that Gemini 2.5 Pro reportedly scores 63.8% on SWE bench verified test when using custom agent setup. That's the industry standard for measuring how well an AI can handle real-world software engineering tasks. The model is being marketed heavily for its ability to transform code, create web applications, and even build entire programs from simple prompts. How about Claude 3.7 Sonnet? How does it compare? Claude 3.7 Sonnet was released by Anthropic on February 2025. This model is marketed as their first hybrid reasoning model, which means it can produce quick responses or engage in extended step-by-step thinking that is visible to the user. What's unique about Claude 3.7 is that it lets you control the reasoning process. In the API, you can actually specify how many tokens you want it to spend thinking before answering, up to 128k tokens. This lets developers balance the speed, cost, quality based on their specific needs. Anthropic claims Claude 3.7 has achieved state-of-the-art performance on SWE benchmark verified score, suggesting superior performance on real-world coding tasks. They emphasize that they optimize less for math competition problems and more for practical business applications. Alongside the model, they introduced Claude Code, a command line tool for agentic coding that lets developers delegate substantial engineering tasks to Claude directly from their terminal. You can see my first review of Claude Code in this video. So both models are clearly positioning themselves as coding powerhouses, but which one actually delivers? Let's move to the coding comparison. To help me cure my distraction problem, I thought it would be a great idea to create a desktop app that keeps my tasks organized and gives me the focus I need. This is the project idea that we'll use to compare Gemini 2.5 Pro versus Claude 3.7 Sonnet. We'll be building a desktop app that allows me to time each task and keeps my tasks organized. We'll start by coding this app using Claude 3.7. To start, you need to be logged in to your Claude AI account, and we'll go straight to coding using the web interface version. Nothing fancy, no MCP or such, but talking about MCP, Model Context Protocol, I simplified this concept for you in this video, which you will definitely like. Let's open VS Code and create the basic files for our app that will include an index.html file, a style.css file, and a script file. I open Claude and copy my prompt, carefully looking at every line to ensure I got it right. In this project, we'll be using Electron.js, which is the best JavaScript library for building cross-platform desktop application using web technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Most modern desktop applications on Windows are built using Electron.js. It helps us create native-like apps while leveraging the power of Node.js and Chromium, making it the top choice for developers who want to bring their web development skills to desktop application development. I select Claude 3.7 Sonnet, and Claude starts generating the files at a record speed, and it's very impressive. I just need to copy these files, but along the way we'll be installing the dependencies like the Electron.js library. For testing, I'm using Live Server, a VS Code extension, to track how the app is taking shape in real time as I add the code. To install Electron.js library, we're going to run this command npm install Electron.js. Then we copy more files, and Claude is moving at very fast speed. It's unimaginable compared to its predecessors. After moving back and forth, copying the code, running into some errors, I give back Claude all these files, and it goes through all of them and corrects the code and gives me back the code, which is amazing. Overall, the app build is very fast and completely functional and has a great UI. Let's get to test it and see if it works. I open the terminal and run the command to open it, and there we have the app. Amazing layout within very few minutes, and the app looks functional. I would like to go into the depth of how you can design such an app and the logic behind it and how to manage the data, but I'm limited in the scope of this video. After testing the app for a few minutes, it's functional and it's useful. And for the time, it took about 8 minutes to completely build a fully functional desktop app with Claude 3.7, right from adding the prompt to debugging and to making the adjustments. Now let's move to Gemini 2.5 Pro with the same prompt and see how it performs. You can access Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro inside the Google's AI Studio. So you go to this website, aistudio.google.com. You're going to find this chat interface. It's something I don't like about Google's AI Studio. I find it so cluttered and it's difficult to tell how everything works. I struggled to even find a way to turn the dark and the light mode. That's something I don't like. I guess there could be better design in terms of reducing the amount of text on screen and making it easier for someone to navigate. Back to the prompt, you begin creating a prompt by clicking on this button. And if you're distracted by these sidebars, you can click on this side collapse as well as this one to collapse and get this space. I'm going to be zooming out so that you can see the entire screen. This is where you input your prompt if you've not used Gemini before. On this sidebar, this is where you select your models. In our case, we are testing Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro. You just click on it. I zoom out again. Then I'll input my prompt here to see how different it is from Claude 3.7. So I just paste in my prompt and click on run. And immediately we can see it starts generating some logic. We give it a few minutes. After giving it a few minutes, we now have these commands that we're going to be running. I'll bring up VS Code and just run the commands. The first is to initialize the package.json. We need to install the dependencies. These are Electron, so I'll slightly move that to a different screen. We have a package.json here. Initially, I'd created 3 files, the index.html, then main.js, and the styles to save time. So this is our package.json. I'm going to install Electron library. Have a package.json set. Now we need to copy the other code. First, we begin by main.js. I'll just save it without wasting too much time. We have the index.html and we have the styles. We need to create a new file to render the JS for the UI logic. This is the file. It's a very long file. Guess we now have all the files we need. We have the styles, the render.js, then we have our package.json updated with everything that we require. We have our main.js. We have the notes that explains what every file does, main.js, then index.html, how this renderer.js, how it manages the states, DOM manipulation, task management, timers, and it's storing the data, the tasks, we are storing them in the local storage. I guess that was just one prompt. The next step is to just do npm install and then start, then we can test. npm's install is completed, so I guess we just do npm start. After wasting too much time going back and forth, I was finally not able to get this done within the same amount of time. But looking at the code, it's possible for Google's Gemini to generate an app like Claude did. It generates it at a record speed, but its interface and its way of doing things is not as clean and as smooth as Claude 3.7. In summary, Claude 3.7 is way better for coding in terms of accuracy as well as the general user experience. That has been my experience with Claude 3.7 versus Gemini 2.5 Pro. After generating this code, trying to make it work, this has not been working, and I'll spend more time trying to debug this to make it work as opposed to Claude 3.7. It was fast and easier. Looking at the code, this is the code for Gemini. I see the code has so much verbose comments, broken logic, as opposed to Claude 3.7, which is clear and well focused. This is the completed code for Claude 3.7. I found this code to be cleaner, easier to read, as opposed to Gemini way of doing things. That's my quick comparison. This does not mean Gemini 2.5 Pro is not the best. In the coming days, I'm going to test it with better projects like API projects. Then I can get back to you with way better review. But for the first time, my experience for coding Claude 3.7 versus Gemini 2.5 Pro in terms of user interface, speed, and the general experience or the code quality. For speed, I would say Gemini, it's fast, but I guess they can tie. For code clarity, Claude 3.7 wins any day. And for the general user experience, Claude wins. And as always, thank you for subscribing. And if you found this useful, kindly consider giving it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. One like, one subscribe gives me one more step to bringing you great content. Thank you, and I appreciate it.